Welcome to Boracay in the Philippines. In this video, we are at most 24 hours from a typhoon that developed very quickly and is growing in size very quickly. I am going to talk about how I made decisions about whether to stay or go, and then the preparations I made in accordance with that in a larger discussion about safety, risk assessment, and survival in this part of the world. Right now, I'm on Puka Beach. It's just such a beautiful day today. It was my last chance to show you this before this island just gets hammered. So it's Sunday afternoon, it's probably 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and Saturday morning, it wasn't even a blip on the radar. And I have been monitoring storm activity over Southeast Asia. It's taken me a long time to figure out where those resources are on the internet, that you've got an eyeball on it and you can plan accordingly, do your risk assessment, make informed decisions. There's a few different agencies that are all going to show you similar things. The Japanese Meteorological DOST-PAGASA, which is the Philippine. There is one that's like its overarching authority is the United States Department of Defense, and they're like out on Guam or something. The problem is we're in a federal government shutdown right now, so their sites are like, oh, lapse in coverage. You're like, oh, great, just fucking exactly what we need right now. The Philippine area of responsibility and the Japanese one, they're watching as it, like, there's just a low pressure area develops, which is what just happened here middle of the day yesterday. And the trajectory, the directional movement of these storms, right? A typhoon and a hurricane are the same thing, just in different parts of the world. And the behavior of that, where they form, they kind of like make their westward movement and then they curve and go up into the mainland. That movement is just like it happens in the southeastern United States. So Philippines, there's kind of like nowhere safe at the because they get so big. I mean, anyway, here on Boracay, we're like right in the middle of the path. 3 o'clock in the morning last night, it had already become a tropical depression, tropical storm. Are you gonna stay or are you gonna go try to get out of the storm? And if the storm is big enough and there's sort of nowhere to hide, now you have to do some secondary, tertiary damage control decision making. Okay, so, you know, even as fast as it was developing, by 3 o'clock in the morning, I think I had already decided I'm gonna stay. And then when I woke up today, probably about noon, it's strengthening so fast, everybody's kind of, the locals are getting ready for it. So 4 o'clock now, by midday tomorrow, the outer fringes of the storm will already be just raining hell down on this place. These are our last hours. How destructive will it be? God, nobody really knows. But the problem you could get into, so if I decided today to just pack up and go, here's the problem. Check out, wait for the final checks on the room, get on an e-trike down to the ferry port, take a ferry boat across the strait into Caticlan, and hopefully, which is highly unlikely, get there to get on the last bus out of Caticlan at 3:30 in the afternoon that would go anywhere if I'm trying to be in like a larger center of population, believing that that's a safer place to be, which is not always true. And it's like, there's just no way I'm gonna make that time window. So it's pointless to run around in circles chasing my tail when debatably, that might be a worse place to be, because the only two places I'm familiar with that I would hastily relocate myself to are Roja City and Iloilo, both of which are low-lying areas whose rivers that run through them have had much surface area and distance for floodwaters to kind of like come up. So your danger there is the floodwater incursion and the storm swell, where here, it's a small enough island. I mean, those low-lying flat areas, especially on White Beach, Front Beach, yeah, they are gonna flood. Destructive capacity, most of these buildings are made out of concrete that you are staying in as a Western foreign visitor, I think. But the hotel I'm staying at it's 50 feet up off the surface of the ocean. So flooding won't be happening specifically at my hotel. So I thought, you know, this is a great place to make my stand for the storm. Let's get some Let's get some water and some supplies that we can enjoy our last day, and then we just buckle down for the storm. The worst thing you could probably be doing is fail to make your decision about stay or go, that the rain picks up, the storm, you know, the symptoms of the storm, and then you panic and you're trying to move during the storm. It's hard for me to imagine a more high risk and dangerous thing to do. Because here's the deal, if you start all those movements somewhere in the middle of it, then you have to take in peak storm hours when it's just like the high winds, the rain, there's going to be downed trees and power lines along the route you're traveling to get to what you think is a safer metropolitan area like Rojas City or Iloilo. So you could easily get stuck at a ferry port, a boat dock somewhere, because they go, we're done, we're not moving any more boats, this is over. Or you're in a 12-passenger van trying to get through the mountains on Panay Island. Oh, there's a stack of trees and power lines down. You're staying right where you're at. There is nowhere to go. Like, nope, I'm just staying put. So we'll see what happens. I'll let you know, obviously, how well this decision goes. So then you have to take a look at your preparation. Because, okay, I'm staying. Now what? Well, in survival terms, you got your rule of 3. The things you need to stay alive, period. Air, water, food. And along the lines of 3, you know, this is not scientifically perfectly accurate, but 3 minutes for air, 3 days for water, 3 weeks for food. Air is going to be just fine. It's neither too hot nor too cold on this island. And I won't be underwater because I'm up above the water. So I went and bought some water at the store. More than I need, for sure. And that cost me for a bag of oatmeal that'll last me a week, and enough water to last me a week that's purified distilled water. And that cost me under $5 US. Boom, it's in my room, done, dealt with. Inevitably, somebody will be unprepared that's in a desperate situation, at which point it's like, well, I've got some. And then if worst thing that happens as far as the money spent in the preparation, time wasted, just leave the water for somebody else. So the hotel does have, and most of these hotels are gonna have, a non-issue with running water, but you don't want to drink tap water, period. They have these big old blue plastic jugs that are like gallons and gallons of water, probably like 5 or 10 gallon, maybe more. But it's not, they can get away with doing it, but you probably shouldn't if you can avoid it. If you are from a Western nation where your body is not used to the microbes, you can get very, very sick. You know, the plumbing might go bad, but the sewage won't get backed up by sheer virtue of gravity because I'm so high up above sea level. So I'm not worried about any of those sanitation issues where I'm staying. Even if from here you were gonna try to get on one of the big big pink yacht boats and go back to Manila, the time it takes to reserve your seat, and they don't move often enough. So they're like, between now and when I would think I'd get on a boat trying to get to Manila, they're gonna shut it all down and you'll be stuck anyway. So you might as well just prepare in place for survival. So another reason why you might wanna just be consistently monitoring the satellite and radar imagery of storms developing or absence of storms is that's a great way to know the difference between a rain squall that lasts 15 to 30 minutes. So like if there's no storm formation going, you can almost, like with 98% certainty, you don't even have to watch the daily weather forecast. It's gonna rain at some point during the day, most days. So if there's no storm materialized, it's usually pretty short. So you just sort of live your life around that. But when there is a typhoon rolling through, or even just a tropical depression, and the arms of that thing, right, they spiral just like a hurricane. But if one of the arms of the storm is camped out over this island, I've been here several times, gone through where it rains. I mean, you just cannot even believe how much it's raining, how hard, nonstop for 12, 18 hours, and the mess it leaves behind. And that's really complicated how the mess happens, but it almost washes out the beaches completely. And there's all this debris that washes up, and it's not from this island, it's from Panay, the mainland island, runs down the river out of the mountains, and then the current washes it up on these beaches, and it takes them a couple of days to clean it up, just in time for the next cell to move through. So everybody can just calm down, take a deep breath. The leaning palm tree still stands. It survived the big storm. You can get your photos, your selfies for your social media. Everything's gonna be okay. I actually had my doubts for a while yesterday that thing was gonna survive. It's a bit of a mess here on the east-facing beach, back beach, because the storm comes in from the east. So all over the Philippines, I mean, man, watching the radar, the satellite, it was like for a 72-hour period that, looking on the screen of DOST-PAGASA, I'll put the link, follow it. If you're anywhere in Southeast Asia, bookmark it. In fact, probably the best way to follow it, rather than chase the website itself, though it does like minute-by-minute updates, is if you're on Facebook, even if you're not, build a dummy account and use it kind of like as a news feed for the major news organizations in this part of the world, if you're a foreign traveler, that you can keep your finger on the pulse, the temperature of geopolitics, of weather. So the way I've learned to do it now is follow the page of like Japan Meteorological, DOST-PAGASA, then go to the page itself through Facebook, click on the following and select it as your favorites, so that every time you're logging in, its most recent updates that they're posting are right at the top of your feed. Now I know, like, Facebook is just trash these days because most of it's like AI generated slop just for ad revenue and clicks and rage baiting, but there are some elements, that news feed angle, that you can use it for that can really help you if you're traveling here, staying here, living here. That said, because there's like social groups for every place, everywhere, that if you have questions or see what the conversation's like. So the storm, it for 72 hours on the radar, it looked like, oh my gosh, this place is gonna get wiped off the map. And here's how it went for us. The first 24 hours was like, boring, yawn. Like, it was barely even raining. So it didn't, visually, it didn't match up with what you were seeing. And then it like started raining pretty consistently, but not windy, just raining. And we still had internet, so we could see like what was happening on Cebu Island. So the islands east of us, like the east facing side of Cebu Island, just got, it's just total carnage. Oh my God. I feel so terrible for so many displaced people. You know, a lot of people died. Wow, they're going to be cleaning that up. And I'm sure that even east of that, we haven't even seen full documentation. So then yesterday, I mean, the wind picked up. It was just insane, the wind. It still wasn't raining that hard here, but like if something's not bolted down, it becomes a missile moving through the air. I forgot about how dangerous that part is. What's crazy is the last 48 hours, I did go out on Front Beach, and like there were more people in the bars and clubs than there are normally. So just walking by, checking it out. Anyway, that beach is just fine, but I wanted to see this beach, like see what the destruction looked like. And most of the island, it's like, it's already business as usual. The storm died down late last night. Still a little bit of mess, but like keeping it clean and orderly and functional, moving, is kind of first order of business in a tourist place like this. Okay, so we talked about tracking, and that's really important. I did not understand this when I was moving around Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia. Most of those storms that go to the continental mainland part of Southeast Asia, they start or at least pass through the Philippine area of responsibility. So you get like a week head notice that something's brewing and it's getting big really fast, or whatever the case is, that you can adjust your travel plans. Now, so like even since I've been here in the Philippines, dude, 4 storms now that are of notable size. The first one, it got us really wet in Manila, ended up going up into the northern reaches of Vietnam and several provinces where I had been previously, and the canyons are so deep that you're like, there's just no way it could turn into like flood of biblical proportions. And like just historic flooding happened in the north of Vietnam. Man, in like the Ha Giang and the Cao Bang. I never even made a video for Cao Bang. I was so busy just living in the moment, taking it in. Then one passed through visibility of Philippine AOR, curveball wiped a village, a town in Alaska off the map, pretty much. Then another one came through, went into the central coast of Vietnam, Da Nang, Hue, Hoi An, like the most rain it's ever seen in its history. In 72 hours, it dropped over a meter of rain. And the floods, if you've seen the pictures, go look it up online if you haven't seen it. Like, it's just unbelievable the destruction it brought. So if you're traveling around Vietnam, keeping an eye on this is really, it's really a good idea, because it takes so long to move from major point to major point up and down that Vietnamese coastline and the railway lines, the highway lines, that if you're watching that cone of probability close in on where you're at or where you plan on going, you can really, ahead of time, adjust your plans and your movements. So for what it's worth. Now it sounds like, as I was asking some of the elders, like, oh my gosh, we got so lucky. Is this how it normally goes? That everybody around us, and they said, no, normally it does not go that well. We got very, very lucky. So there's that. You never know when you're gonna get lucky or horribly unlucky, but you can take steps to sort of minimize your risk level. And there were tons of people that I had met going into the storm from other parts of the Philippines. They're like, yeah, we're getting out of here ahead of time. And then I see them in the middle of the night. We're all out at the chicken place. And they're like, we're stuck. There's no airplanes. Everything got canceled. So, another thing, if you're thinking like, what's typhoon season exactly? Here's another sort of change that's happening as the climate is changing. I don't have any data, metadata to back it up. But a lot of the elders say, typhoon season used to be confined by calendar months. But they go anymore now. Every year, every couple of years, they're all noticing like, the season is longer and stronger. That it doesn't even follow calendar rules anymore. It's always a chance. Little bonus shot of the front beach. Had to come see. So it only takes like 15-20 minutes to walk from back beach to front beach and vice versa. So I wouldn't say like it never even happened, but the reality this points out, this is such a robust tourist destination every day of the year. The show must go on, and go on it shall. Here's what's awesome. Normally, those are just such calm waters. You could actually body surf in that right now. Probably not board surf, but you could have some fun. It's pretty windy up here on the west side. I don't know, it looks like pretty strong, kind of sheer lateral, maybe not rip current. I don't see rip current, but be careful. Major rain, squall, and the wind is blowing this way. So I'm gonna put the equipment away, go find some cover. I don't feel like being out here for more of it, but I mean, right now, as I speak, it calmed down at the end of the night last night, early this morning. And right now, the storm is like going over Palawan Island, El Nido, Puerto Princesa, or we don't know how bad it is there. We'll find out soon. So today's Wednesday afternoon. It'll probably be the next 24 hours. They're getting their asses handed to them. And then it's supposed to hit, again, the central coast of Vietnam. by Friday night, the eye of the storm. So really, in the next 12, 24 hours, they're gonna start feeling the rain if they aren't already right now, which is terrible. It breaks my heart. I love that area so much. And after the flooding that had happened, they were just like a week, 2 weeks after the last storm came through, the water was just going down. They were starting to get it cleaned up. They were wrapping up all the rescue stuff. And like, here it comes again. So man, if you're in Vietnam, my thoughts are with you. Stay safe. Keep your eye on the storm. Be watching those storms. And until next time, keep it real.